Alright, everybody, buckle up because we're diving into the dark side of the draft today. The top 10 biggest busts in NBA history. These are the guys who had all the hype, all the potential, and didn't deliver too well. This is true no matter what, but it's more complicated than just that. Does one consider a second round player not meeting expectations the same level of bust as a top 5 pick not meeting expectations? Most likely not. Things that can help make a player a bust. We have expectations of the player, sustainability of the player, or other players within that draft. Well, I'm Nick Wire here for the 10th inning, and these are the top 10 busts in NBA draft history. Now, a lot of this list honestly could be players taken from the 1950s number one overall, but we are going to start more modern and have the cutoff date as 1970 onwards. Starting with number 10, Sam Bowie. Almost always considered a top bust for being selected before Michael Jordan at number 2 overall. The reasoning for him being selected for that was simple. The Trailblazers already had their guard in Clyde Drexler, and it helped that Sam Bowie lied about his health prior to the draft. Knowing that, they selected the big man that they needed that was on their board that was not selected number 1 in Hakeem Olajuwon. Not a bad player overall. Bowie dealt with injuries in the knees which hurt his career overall. Lasting 10 seasons and 511 games, Bowie averaged 10.9 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks while shooting .452 from the field. A player who will always be remembered for being drafted before Jordan, Bowie was not a bad player. It just happened that injuries and the players selected after him changed how we think of his career. Next up at number 9, we have Michael Olowokandi. The Nigerian center had all the physical tools but lacked the fundamental skills to impact the game. Olowokandi first touched the basketball at 17 due to his height and officially began playing at age 18. Olowokandi was easily the top upside prospect of the 1998 draft and was selected number 1 overall by the Clippers. However, his lack of experience caught up with him in his career, and even though he played 500 games, he only ended up averaging 8.3 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.4 blocks while shooting .413 from the field. Now, it does seem a little unfair to place Olowokandi on this list, even though he was the first overall pick, as he didn't know the game before 1995. However, because he was number 1, he is on this list, but that is the reason why he does not rank any higher, ranking number 9. Moving to number 8, we go to Darko Miličić. The Serbian sensation was supposed to revolutionize the game, but he was more of a ghost on the court. Drafted number 2 in the legendary 2003 draft, Miličić came over as an 18-year-old and looked outmatched right away. Eventually finding a place as a starter, Miličić did improve, but not as hoped, as a number 2 pick should. Playing 10 seasons in his career, Miličić played in 468 games overall, averaging 6 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks while shooting .460 from the field. Not great numbers overall, but what hurts his legacy even more, even though he was drafted after LeBron James, was that draft class. He was taken before Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, which hurts his legacy overall. However, being drafted number 2 only ranked him number 8. Next up, number 7, Kwame Brown. Drafted first overall by Michael Jordan himself due to his scoring and rebounding ability coming out of high school, Brown struggled with his confidence and consistency, never quite living up to his billing. Lasting 12 seasons and 607 games, more than most busts on this list, Brown averaged 6.6 points and 5.5 rebounds while shooting .492 from the field for his career. Brown certainly did not live up to the expectations as a number 1 pick. However, a weak draft class and a long career helped Brown not reach the top 5 busts, though he certainly will always be remembered as a bust. Moving to number 6, we have the first number 3 draft pick on this list, Adam Morrison. His college scoring prowess vanished in the pros, and he quickly became a cautionary tale. Morrison was a top prospect, and in 2006, he went 3rd overall to the Charlotte Bobcats. Due to his inconsistencies and injuries entering year 2, Morrison played a total of 161 games, averaging 7.5 points, 2.1 rebounds, and 1.4 assists, while shooting .373 from the field. The only saving grace for Morrison on this list is that he was a 3rd overall pick, not the 1st, and that it wasn't a strong draft class behind him. Morrison will always be remembered as one of the biggest NBA busts and as more of a what could have been player, but he is only number 6. We're halfway there, moving to the top 5. We have Chris Washburn. Drafted 3rd overall in the 1986 draft by the Warriors, Washburn actually played in the league unlike the number 2 pick in Lem Bias, but he didn't do much more than that. Childish and immature, Washburn eventually checked himself into a rehab center for a cocaine addiction. Ineffective when on the court, Washburn was a headache on and off the court, showing no desire to be there. Totaling 72 games in his career, Washburn averaged 3.1 points and 2.4 rebounds in his time, and could easily be seen as the largest bust here, but being selected number 3 helps him stay away from that, though still reaching top 5 status. Moving to number 4, the big man, Hasheem Thabeet. Thabeet had something that cannot be taught, height. Thabeet was 7'3", which made him a very interesting draft prospect, even though he was looked at as a blue-chip prospect. Taken number 2 in 2009, he was taken before James Harden at number 3, and most notably, Stephen Curry at number 7. Something those two men don't have, though, is height. It's not Thabeet's fault that his height led to him being drafted so high, which unfairly set expectations on him, but overall, Thabeet was not good, and his NBA career lasted 5 seasons, playing 224 games, averaging 2.2 points and 2.7 rebounds over his career. Now we're at our top 3, and at number 3 we have Greg Oden. Injuries plagued him from the start. The number 1 pick just couldn't stay on the court. In the league for 7 seasons, Oden spent more time on the sideline than on the court itself. Missing 4 full seasons and only playing in 105 games throughout 3 seasons, Oden averaged 8 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks while shooting .574 from the field. Good when healthy and being able to remain on the court, remaining healthy was tough, and the fact that he was drafted directly ahead of Kevin Durant makes him a top 3 bust. If he was not drafted number 1 overall, he would not be there. But now we move to our top 2, and the number 2 spot goes to LaRue Martin. Martin's career ended with him playing a total of 271 games, averaging 5.3 points and 4.6 rebounds, while shooting only .416 from the field. Drafted before Hall of Famer Bob McAdoo in the 1972 draft, his NBA career was more of a blink and you missed it situation. Martin's career never really took off as expected, and for the Trailblazers, it was just the first of many missed draft picks in their franchise's history. However, these players serve as a reminder that the NBA draft is a gamble. Sometimes you win big, but sometimes the house wins big. But that all leads us to that number 1 bust in NBA history, Anthony Bennett. A surprising number 1 pick, Bennett's athleticism just did not translate to NBA success, leading to a rapid fall from grace. Lasting 4 seasons with 4 different teams, Bennett started only 4 of 151 games in the NBA. The only argument to be made for him not being the biggest bust of all time is the draft class behind him. The 2013 draft class was historically weak and saw only 3 All-Stars in Victor Oladipo, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was not the Greek Freak yet, and Rudy Gobert. However, even though it was a weak draft class, Bennett was historically bad, averaging only 4.4 points, 3.1 rebounds, while shooting .392 from the field. For any top 5 player, that is not good. But for a number 1 pick, even if he shouldn't have been picked number 1, that is just not good at all. So that is my list. That is the top 10 busts in NBA history. Did I get everybody? I know there are more than 10 busts in NBA history, but draft position, in my opinion, holds a lot of weight. So you saw number 1s, number 2s, and number 3 picks only. No one really passed that. But let me know down in the comment section, who are your biggest busts in NBA history? If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. For Nick O'Dwyer and the 10th inning, thank you all for watching.